The SAICA Biz Impact Podcast is proudly brought to you by SAICA, committed to growing impactful businesses in collaboration with our SAICA accredited practitioners. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and visit our website for more valuable resources.
Welcome to season 2 of the SAICA Biz Impact Podcast Show. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with season 2. And thank you so much to each and every one of you that supported us on season 1. This is your ultimate home where we simplify complex business topic, one episode at a time. I am your host, Uluncedo, and I'm here to guide you through insightful discussions and actionable insights. On this episode, I am joined by a formidable businesswoman by the name of Thabelo Raphala. Hi, Thabelo.
Hi, how are you?
Great, welcome on board.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know who is Thabelo, let me give you a sneak preview of who she is. Thabelo is the managing director of MyDo, a dynamic business incubator and accelerator that supports over 2,500 SMEs, ladies and gentlemen. They offer tools and resources such as access to sales, market opportunities, funding avenues, team management tools, and much more. Thabelo is a seasoned business leader. She's an accountant, a CA. She's an auditor. She is a strategist with a diverse background in various sectors, including retail, security, logistics, where she has also co-founded some of the businesses in those sectors. Thabelo has also been recognized in few awards, including the SAICA Top 35 Under 35 Male and Guardian Power of Business Awards, to name a few. Hi, Thabelo. Let's do this thing. So on this episode, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about sales and customer retention. Yes. But before we talk about that, Thabelo, take me through in terms of the impact that you have had in relation to your business, MyDo. You have supported over 2,500 SMEs. How did that come about?
We're actually sitting at just under 5,000 to date.
Jeez.
And really for me, it was just a journey that started way before that, when I really look back and connect the dots. Growing up, my dad was an entrepreneur. I watched him start grow, his businesses, and eventually, unfortunately, he, upon his death, lost everything. Post that, then working at the Auditor General at the Strategy Division, I then looked after the Enterprise and Supply Development Program.
Okay.
And at that point, I didn't know what it was. It was just something about business. Yeah. Anything business excites me.
Yeah.
Going into that, I then realized that the job really is to support entrepreneurs grow their business.
Correct.
And had great success in that. And I realized this is actually what I want to do. When you find your purpose, I wanted a bigger platform now to say, of course, it's working out in the audit sector. Yeah. How do I go and support more entrepreneurs, in different sectors? Yeah. And that's how I joined my business partners and we grew MyDo. And the rest is history. So
is that where also the bug now of understanding sales, where it actually emanated from? Is that coming from a very young age, coming from that environment that was selling on a day-to-day basis?
Definitely. When I went to varsity as well, I started my own businesses, co-founded quite a number of businesses.
Yes.
Because it was just a natural thing for me.
Yeah.
There must be something you're selling,
Sure.
And growing up watching my father sell, run away from clients because he didn't do what he promised to do. Yeah. Now you look back and like, oh, okay, that was the retention part. So it's seeing all of that, also experiencing it myself, and then working with entrepreneurs who in their own worlds experience it. That's how it all came about.
I get you. So let's talk about sales and customer retention, right? That appears as a topic that only big business would care about. And if you take a step back, at the end of the day, it affects each and everyone who's running their business. Because without sales, you're actually out of business. So can you simplify that for us in terms of when we talk about sales and customer retention? In a nutshell, what are we talking about?
Simply put, sales is really saying, I'm taking my product, all my services, and I'm offering it to someone. And that person needs to buy it. You know, and retaining it is, now that they've bought it, how do I make sure that they keep coming back? How do I make sure that I build customer retention from they're satisfied with my product, they enjoy my product, they become a loyal customer to my product and advocate for it beyond that. It's really as simple as that.
Yeah. But what happens in a situation here, Thabelo, where you start your business, right? You know your craft, you're good at what you do. Either you're a graphic designer or manufacturer, right? You're good at what you do. You're good at your craft. However, now there's this element now where you need to go and sell, right?
Yes.
And you find that you don't have those skill sets of being a salesperson. How would you navigate? How would you advise now an entrepreneur who is at that level, where they say, listen, we're good at what you do, all right? However, I'm not a good salesperson.
Funny you say that, because what I see and what I've learned myself is sales is actually a muscle that you build.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an accountant. I will do the books for you. I'll sit in my small corner, but let's go sell. I'm like, someone must do it.
Yeah.
But it's a muscle that all entrepreneurs must build.
Yeah.
That's number one. You need to recognize that some are born salespeople who are good with people.
Yes.
Some of us must learn to do it.
Yeah.
So number one, recognize that you need to learn how to sell.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, then you get to selling, you realize that a lot of people think selling is, I'll bring a brochure and like, Thabelo, I am selling weaves, and these are my prices. What do you say? And really selling, what I've learned over the years is it's really building relationships with people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
understanding who your clients are, what they love, what their persona is, you know. So I'm selling these weaves, you know, the personality of the person I'm selling to. When I have a conversation with them, when I get to know them, you know, what do I say to them, you know? And you then build it up from there. I would say, you building relationships. You're not going to a meeting and saying, this is what I offer, what do you say?
Correct.
You know, that's the first thing. Build rapport with people so that they get comfortable with you. Yeah. And then they start telling you a lot. The other thing that I've picked up is when you're in conversations with people, learn to listen. We speak a lot.
Yeah.
You know, learn to listen to someone, because in listening, they get to tell you their problems. Yeah. You know, before you know it, sometimes you may not make a sale that day, but you've gotten to know a lot about them. And the next conversation that comes up is really now having conversations where someone realizes, oh, okay, Thabelo cares actually. She remembers, you know. Yeah. And then you talk about what you do and how you solve it. Yeah. So I would say start there. Start by thinking about selling is building rapport with someone, building a relationship with someone. Not necessarily, I sell furniture. Here's my price. Do you need furniture? No. Do you know if they even have a house? You know? So that's the first step where I think one can start.
Thabelo, you spoke about the importance of maintaining strong relationships, right? And I've noticed working with a number of entrepreneurs that they are good at hunting, right? To chase the customers and get the customers. That's the fun part, right? Now, the not so fun part is the fact that now you have to maintain those relationships now for the next 2 to 5 years.
True.
And you have to deliver now, right, on day-to-day basis. And that is the hardest part, what I've picked up for most entrepreneurs. They can get clients easy, right, but maintain. So how do you build strong or solid relationships with your clients to ensure that they don't leave within 6 months after joining your business?
Very good question. So I say an owner's job is 3 things. Well, for me, is to sell, to retain, and make sure that operations run. And that is hiring the best people.
Yes.
Retention. Understand the layout of the land of the client that you're servicing. You know, what are their KPIs, what they are worried about, what's important to them. And those are the things you answer to. You know, I'm in a service space and my output is a report. But how do I show these people that the stuff that's in the report actually has impact, right?
Yeah.
So we hold events, we do client visits, we speak about what's topical in the space, and we do check-ins, a phone call, you know. The thing is, the person that you're dealing business with is a human being on the other side. So always remember that. A check-in of how are you doing, you know, how are your kids doing? Because those are things you do when you build a relationship.
Just caring.
You know,
just have to care.
Just care. Someone will send you an email. Oh, I'm off sick. 2 weeks later, check up on them. Are you well? Are you back at work? As simple as that. It's nothing you have to pay for, you know. Before you know it, the year has ended. Sometimes we also send your year-end gifts to say, you know, I thank you for a good year. We appreciate you. So it's small things that, you know, help someone keep you at the top of their mind. I always say, a client mustn't worry about you because they have a lot of things to do. There are a lot of KPIs to worry about. But when they see that report come in on time, when they see, okay, Thabelo has invited me to an event or two in a year, okay, things are running, you know, then you keep the relationships. So understand your environment, what works for your clients, and just move with it.
Let's talk about the role of having a sales strategy in terms of its role in ensuring that you have or you maintain your customers. Is this something that you need to have written down as a matter of fact, or else? Because I've seen a number of entrepreneurs where they know what they have to do, but all of these plans, the sales plan, sales strategy, and all of that, they don't have that. They're only just operating by the head. Is it something that you should have written down as a business?
On a daily basis, as an entrepreneur, you have to steer the ship. We're going north. Everyone else in the ship is busy doing what they need to do, but you have to stay on course. If you don't, we may be going south instead of north. So a sales strategy helps us stay focused. It does not have to be complicated, you know. We've got this Chivenda saying, customer ni mafura ayadoliwa, directly translated, a customer is lotion, you have to put them on to look good, you know. So when I think now about it, I'm like, okay, they was just saying a customer is a very important person in your life as an entrepreneur.
You have to notice,
so you need to understand who they are, their personality, how you get them, how you sell to them, what language do they speak. Those are important questions to answer. And also identifying to say, okay, my sales cycle, for example, is a B2B, is a business development space. It takes 18 to 24 months to close just one deal. What does it mean for me? How do I have a roadmap? How do I develop a roadmap to actually saying if I close 3 deals a year, it will be a good year, you know? So it gives you a map on how you need to manage your business on a daily basis. And you need to look at that we look at it on a weekly basis. Are we still on track? Are we getting the customers that we said we are going to get? Are we in meetings? Are we closing? If we're not closing, why? If we've lost the client, why? Were we overpriced? Was the strategy wrong? So that helps us go north because we said we're going north. So it's quite an important process. It comes in different shapes and forms. So I would say start small. You don't have to overcomplicate it, you know. We have a CRM system within our MyDo platform that actually helps entrepreneurs with that thought process, you know. A lead, a meeting or a phone call, a code sent out, a win or a lose, you know, as simple as that. Then you build from there.
So talking about that, because that process now, that means you need to have a customer acquisition process in terms of how are you going to get your customer. So can you dive deeper in terms of how does a customer acquisition process sort of like looks like if you are an SME, and considering the fact, and especially most of them, they don't have the liberty or the resources to have number of people You know, you're the jack of all trades, right?
Yes.
So what are some of the successful strategies that you can say they can apply to really generate more leads?
Well, 4 key things, I think. Create awareness of your
Yes.
product.
Yeah.
Get to understand who your target market is.
Yeah.
You know, and create awareness about your product, whether it's on a website or a social media platform or, you know, telecommunication, you call. And from there, you then go into having these people then consider your product.
Yeah.
Okay, then start thinking about your product, clicking through, coming into your store, you know. Then the third thing, you go into interest.
Yeah.
You help these people generate interest in your product, you know. Do you have samples that you can send through? When they call and inquire, are you responsive?
Yeah.
You know, they then go into a mode of I'm comparing, you know, and that's a critical part of your process, because once they're interested, it means you can close the deal anytime.
Yeah.
So a lot of that comes with questions and sampling and feeling your product. So that's why I would say you also have to put your A game, you know, and finally then make a decision, you know, to either buy or not buy.
Yeah.
It's even longer for a B2B type of a sale because decisions are made by 30 people.
Yeah.
So you can imagine.
You have to be patient. You have to be.
That's
you have to be
why
patient.
on a day it takes you 18 months to close a contract. You know,
Imagine the overheads by that time. You're paying overheads every month by that time.
Exactly. So I would say those 4 key steps.
Yeah.
Look at them and really ask yourself, in each one of them, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And if it's not working, what else am I trying?
Yeah.
Am I visible?
Yeah.
Do people know me?
Talking about that, about that, you're raising a very important point in terms of visibility, right? We're in 2024. We still have businesses that don't have digital presence. They believe that, no, I'm fine. My product is moving. There's no need for me to be out there and all of that. What's your take on that now in 2024? That you've got businesses, yes, all of these social media platforms are buzzing with businesses. But you still have others that are saying there's no need for us. Our product is moving. We are okay.
There's 2 types, right? And I think the business-to-business model, you don't necessarily have to go market yourself out there on big billboards because your customer is another business. So the energy you put out there is actually identifying who is that possible business that I can go sell my product to. So you have to spend your time identifying who that business is, getting into meetings, showing your samples, demoing. That's the marketing that you do there. Correct. Then you've got a business to customer type of a relationship now, where you're selling to Thabelo, Pumla, where the only way to find me is on a social media platform or radio or and that's where the marketing now becomes a bit more expensive, because you need to then spend resources, you know, to get your product out there. Basic websites help, but people generally don't make big decisions on websites, you know, especially when it's a B2B space. As long as you've proven that you can deliver, you've had those 1,000 meetings, you know. But I think it's important to have presence, you know, in spaces, because authenticity, people want to know whether you exist, you know, are you a professional outfit? So those are basic things that we look at, your professional image, you know, your website presence, your, I see Gmail anymore, it's at Thabelo Inc. So those are small things that are important that, you know, one can employ for presence and awareness.
Build the brand. Build the brand.
Build the brand.
Let's talk about pricing, because there are people that will tell, I've got a good product, but it's not moving. I'm doing as much as I can, right? Now, how do you balance a good position as a business owner to price accordingly? I've got a number of people that I know that are saying, we are submitting our bids every week, but we are losing all the time. So the role that pricing plays in getting your customers, and also even maintaining the current customers that you have, because somehow you will need to increase your pricing now. Sometimes can scare away your customers.
It's a very good question, yet a complex one. in this way, we find that one, there's a group of entrepreneurs that just want to make the first $1 million out of the first deal, which is wrong. Then you overprice. You know, the second aspect of it, what we tend to see these days is a lot of people underball so that they get the contract.
Yes.
Where then you even ask yourself, how are you going to deliver on this? And unfortunately, that's why when you look around everywhere, a lot of things are not delivered because you just underpriced.
Someone underpriced,
you know. So when we look at it, the building blocks are simple. You know, what's the cost of the product to acquire it, or what is the hourly rate for a service, for example, as a bare minimum. For me to deliver a building, for example, or to move tires, what costs are involved in that, you know? So those are simple building blocks where you start. That's where you start, because if you don't start there, you're either going to not even break even, but run at a loss when you price. So standard cost of the product, there's things that we forget that, I need to pay insurance.
The overheads
the overhead per product. So it makes me sit at a 20 rands, for example, and then someone then negotiates a discount. You've not even factored a margin in there. You discount and you're selling the price at 12 rands, already in the red, you know. So it's depending on the sectors. I would say the base of everything, what's your cost of the service or the product? Add your margin and take it from there. It's a lengthy topic depending on the sectors you're servicing, and unfortunately some quite a lot in the country, people underball to get the work.
It's the reality. I think that plays quite a lot in the public sector as well. But that is one of the challenges that SMEs face as well, heavily. But what are some of the common challenges that you have picked up with all the entrepreneurs that you've worked with, that they face in terms of retaining their customers?
Very interesting question. To a point where we took a decision as MyDough to say everything that we procure, as much as possible, we procure it from our ecosystem. And the reason why, for me, that was important is we realized that our SMMEs are getting clients, but they're not retaining them just because of the service. So we wanted to be the guinea pig. Let's have a sandpit where you practice this in a safe space. And what we've picked up, it's simple things. You're a caterer. We've agreed that you are going to bring the lunch at 1. And obviously, you know your setup time. The caterer arrives at 1:30. Problem number 1. Okay, they get there. The food is cold. The gear, I can see the hair, it's everywhere. And once we're done, you pack up and leave. In there, you're like, but okay, so much has really just gone wrong. You didn't call at 12 to say I may be running late, so that I meant my program and keep things going. You know, the food, you're the expert. We can't be having guests eat cold food. You know what's happening. You know,
just communication.
Just communication. You know, so it's simple things that I think we are all capable of doing. And I would say, just caring about the work you do and caring about your customer, putting yourself in your customer's shoes. You know, really goes a long way. You know, there's guidelines, but always just put yourself in the customer's shoes. If I'm doing events, will I be happy with what I've put out? You know?
I feel like I'm at school here. I like what you're saying, because these are the practical realities that consumers face on day-to-day basis, and it's something that we, as South African businesses, I'm not sure if it's a South African thing, that we have to improve on heavily. But in terms of when you look at the SMEs that you've worked with and compared with your global peers, where do we rank in terms of the service? Because what you're saying, for you to generate sales, it's important that your service is good. where are we when you look at with our African counterparts?
I have these things I call family meetings.
Okay.
Where I'm like, guys, it's just us. Let's be honest, with ourselves. And it's quite important because we have to talk about things we're struggling with.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable about that.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot to be desired, really, And you hear it. The best thing about customers, they give us feedback every day, everywhere. You go to the salon, hi, this stylist, that's feedback.
Yeah.
A logistics company, they didn't deliver on time, that's feedback. So I've seen generally, there's quite a lot to be desired that as SMMEs we can do better.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, corporates, they even term as, unreliable, And I think there's quite a lot we can do about that, When we are compared to our peers globally, yes, they still have their own issues, but I think South African entrepreneurs, we are fortunate that our government, there are certain acts and laws that are if I think about just the Black community,
sure.
Preferential procurement, your BE Act, your enterprise development, your supply development, that actually pushes our corporates to say support Black business. The opportunity is there, and I'm like, let's make use of it. Yes, it's a grudge purchase, but it's an opportunity that nonetheless,
Sure.
let's step up. Let's learn amongst each other, and we have bi-weekly workshops where we actually talk about these issues. How can you do better?
Yeah. Talk about that, having these weekly discussions in your business and the support that government has. But also you also touched about the feedback that customers would provide to you as an entrepreneur. And sometimes other entrepreneurs will take it as they're complaining. These people, they like to complain. So what metrics would you say entrepreneurs have to use to ensure that there is an ongoing customer satisfaction? And how do you measure that customer satisfaction? Because that feedback is not someone just complaining, but someone is just giving you good feedback to improve your processes.
It's funny. I think it's a human thing.
Yeah.
Human beings don't really like constructive feedback. It's in there within us, right? Yeah. So you can imagine, I don't even want to ask you how I did.
Yeah.
I just move on to the next customer.
Assume that, okay, step right there.
Okay, it went well. When you know very well it didn't.
Sure.
So we look at your customer retention rate, where you like, how many customers are you retaining? Let's say annually. How many returning customers, depending on the type of business, how many of those are returning? That's the telltale sign. Because customers sometimes are unforgiving. They will just move on.
Yeah.
Then, you've got your customer lifetime value, metrics that we look at as well, to say, what's the predicted revenue that you can get from a client over the lifetime of the relationship they will have with your business,
okay.
Versus the cost you will incur to acquire them, Sometimes you spend so much, but you don't retain the client. They are out the window.
So you have to do your numbers from the beginning.
Yes. Then you've got your good old qualitative feedback, customer feedback, have a survey, once the event is done, let everyone leave, be patient, ask the owner, did you think it went well? Any pointers, or even the following day, call them and ask for feedback. Those things go a long way. And what I've picked up about our clients is they're very forgiving when we are honest and transparent. So feedback really goes a long way because it tells someone that you care. You care about the service you're giving out. And if I've made a mistake, I'll rectify it, and they're able to, give you another chance. But if you just move on.
Thabelo, let's talk about some of, the personal stories, either from you or from your clients, where there would have been some very deliberate or unexpected sales win that has led to a very long or fruitful relationship with the client, and that has become very beneficial for that particular entrepreneur or even your business.
I think I'll talk about one that I went through, and it was me testing. I'm in a B2B space is, we've got different connotations. You've got cold calling, where you just call a stranger, I want a meeting, warm contacts and the likes. Yeah. And I wanted to experiment with going to these events, because sometimes you can just go to events upon events and nothing lands, right? Correct. So I went there, I met this lady from an organization who I was really not expecting any sale from. She's in the funding space. Yeah. We had a conversation and she said to me, there's a couple of things I need to do. Just wait for me. We can have a chat after the event. I had to wait for about 2.5 hours post the event for them, and eventually had a chat with them. And I think from their side, they were like, oh, okay, this person is quite serious. Yeah. To wait almost 3 hours to speak to me, and those are the things that you need to do, sometimes to build relationships. Post that, it was really just my interest in their funding space, because I'm in the funding space as well, where we do funding for our entrepreneurs. And 3-4 conversations down the line, she says, you know what, I actually need for you to come and run a program for us. Wow. Which was amazing. Wow. Yeah. We started the program and we had an event, customer retention. Wow. In there, I didn't realize I was then having conversations. I'm that person that I speak to everyone. Sure. To ask, did you know how it is in African culture, did you have water? Did you eat? Yeah. She was watching me. I didn't know. Later on, when we're about to go, Lisa, she's like, I am so amazed. I'm like, what are you talking about? You literally greeted everyone. Beautiful. Beautiful, yeah. And I think for us as a company, taking care of people is important. And like my client, I didn't know she was watching, but what that did the following day was, I want us to look at other programs that we can go to work together on, Yeah. So that was one story that I can talk about. Again, it speaks to the sales, the retention, and really being interested in the clients and the work that you're doing.
Correct, yeah. Talking about you attending the event, networking event, in 2024, all right, where do you go, where do you get the sales leads, all right, if you're B2B? I think B2C is easier. It's social media platforms. They're there. But if you are business to business, where are there any platforms out there, or else what are some of the best places where you can sell your products out there?
I think I'll talk about me and how I really started in that space. A good friend of mine said to me, just look at your telephone contact list. Okay. You've got thousands of people that who are in different spaces, have conversations. And B2B is, you meet a lot of people. You do a lot of coffees. That's where you get to know people, let people know what you do. Yeah. And that's the quickest way, because then if someone knows what you do, then they give a call to Pumla. It's already a trusted person. So it's easier to then start a conversation. Then you've got your cold calling. That's the most painful one, where you're like, hi, my name is Thabelo.
Do people still do that in 2024?
We know how we feel about insurance people. Yeah. It works, but not really effective. It takes longer. Okay. Then there's emails, where we send email, introduce ourselves. Yeah. But what I did, I went to conferences and events, last year. And this for me was, I want to test this, for myself and the entrepreneurs I support, to say, how do you get someone you don't know to become a warm contact? Yes. And funny, I got 5 clients out of that, because I said there, I was like, okay, fine. That person seems to be in a space that I'll be interested in. And even the people that I didn't know I was sitting close to, I was genuinely interested in their stories. And we exchanged numbers. And of the people that were in a panel, I was clear to say, I want to make sure that I met that person, that person. Yeah. When I got a chance, I literally would pick up the conversation from what they were saying, what was impactful to me, and just indicated that I know they don't have time. If they would love, or permitted, I would love to meet them for coffee, to have another conversation. And that's where I picked up the discussions. Even when I went there, it wasn't about me and me selling my dough. It was really being interested in what they do and their problems. And in those conversations, then we then started to talk about, kind of, Luana, what do you do? Then the rest is history.
You just gave me a very good framework, because even if you're shy, you go into an event, you know no one, right? It's easier to say, okay, there's 1 or 2, 3 people that are talking about this. You don't know what you're going to start talking about. So it's just take from what they were saying from stage, right? And then that's how you started discussion. And then from there, it becomes easier. Let's talk about, technology in relation to sales and customer retention. Are there any, technologies that we can adopt as SMEs in relation to sales and customer retention?
Well, I'm glad you're raising that, because a lot of our big corporates that are winning it's really because they've got technology that they're employing to learn about the customer. And yes, there are this technology that's quite expensive that we can't really afford as SMMEs, but you can start small, really build up a spreadsheet of data about your customer. These days, AI is there. Your chats of this world and all these things. Use it. Because behind the tech, it's really saying, at the base of it, get to know your client better. Once you know your client better, you know how to sell to them better. You're able to have the conversations you must have with them better. And you're able to remind them. For example, let's say you are a licensing company. Your customer's license date is expiring in 2 months. We remember when a police officer is saying, hey, SCC, your license is expired. But technology can help you remind them. You can just set it up and say, you know what, in this month, at this time, let's just remind our client or that their disc is expiring. I will forever oh my God, he cares about my business. He cares about me as a client. So those are small things that we can introduce and use technology, but it takes a lot of work from your side as an entrepreneur to research. So the doing,
it's an
investment, which I find a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we don't like doing, investing time to learning new things. So we rather shy away from it.
Now let's talk about some of your success stories, of course, that you've had in relation to customer retention. Any success stories that you'd like to share with our audience?
I mean, touch wood, my business partner is a touch wood.
Yes.
We're very fortunate that we've actually not lost a client. Over the years that we've been building My Dough, we've got clients that are 8, 9 years old with us.
Can I be your business partner, please?
On an annual basis. Some contracts are annual, and we have to go back and engage. And the strategy has been, okay, we want to move those to multiple year, contracts, and we've successfully been able to do that. And I really think it really is about the basics that I've been talking about, and we're fortunate that we're building on that. And it's big corporates, international, multinational companies that one would look and say, oh my God, but it's just human beings behind the names. And like I said earlier, it's just building relationships with the people and caring about what they care about and worrying about what they worry about and giving them the solutions.
You've kept it simple. You've made it very simple. You've made it simple because most people would assume that, to do all of that, you need to invest heavily on, huge machine learning, huge softwares, expensive softwares and all of that. But what you are saying, you're just saying simplicity, just care about your customers and they'll stick with you.
That's it.
All right. What are some of your key takeaways that you would share with our audience in terms of running their own business? And again, on the other side, this does not even apply to businesses only, even in corporate, right? Even in your career while you're still. So what advice would you share with our audience?
I would say before any title, that anyone holds. You're dealing with a human being.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
If you go into that space and know that you're dealing with a father, a brother, someone that has life goals and all those things, and you care enough to want to know about it. Some people are very private, fair enough, but you'll be surprised at how many people actually love sharing, you know. It's funny how, on average, all my meetings, 45 minutes of the time, we are talking about the holidays, the grandchildren, the puppies.
Soft skills.
Soft skills. And 15 minutes about, I've gone out, here's what I prepared, what do you think, way forward, we move on. So people love doing business with people they like and know they care, you know. So listen. I think we love talking and we love talking. So I say as entrepreneurs, let's build the skill of listening to people and being inquisitive, you know. Don't go with a brochure and the first thing you whip out to the table is, what do you know? Just have conversations with people. You'll be shocked at how much, even though that day did not translate into a sale, but they know Thabelo cares. And they may not buy today, but in 7 months' time, when opportunity comes, they remember me. Or even when I have a call with them or try to remind them in 2 years' time, in 2 months' time, the first thing I say, Kana, how's your daughter doing at varsity? Hey, the last time you know? That goes a long way to say, oh, this person cares, you know? And even maybe that they really actually didn't need your services. A lot of people change their minds because they really think, oh, this person really cares, you know? So that's my key takeout. Secondly, I would say be excellent. Try your best to be excellent.
Go all out.
Go all out. It doesn't mean that you must have the best machines or whatever, but you can feel, man, when someone has done their best. And our clients see it, you know? Do your best. And that normally requires, when we start early on, because you're the salesperson, you're the retainer, you're the operations person, for you to work long hours. You need to be comfortable with that, to say, this is the season of my business. I have to work long hours on weekends sometimes. I must meet that party or whatever. I do that even today because I understand that I cannot submit mediocre work. In my world, I call it mediocre because I can see I am not proud of it. So we have to learn to do that as well, to say, to the best of my ability, this is what I can offer to our clients, and really source feedback, you know.
Get used to feedback. Even if it's negative, it's okay.
Get used to feedback, solicit it, you know, because what that says to me as a client, oh, they care about what they're giving me, you know. And even though maybe what you offered was not the best, behind closed room, guys, there's decisions that are made. So someone will fight for you because you went there and you were transparent and you're like, sorry, you know what, I'll do better. You know, this and this happened. Just be transparent, apologize, and come back and show me, you see, this is how I'm proving it. And I'll fight your battles when you're not there. It's as simple as that.
Masterclass, ladies and gentlemen. I've got no further questions after that. Thabelo, thank you so much. I believe that you have taken a topic, as we say on the podcast, that we simplify complex topics and we make them simple so that business owners can understand that it's not only big businesses that deal with this topic. So thank you so much for that. You very much simplified it. Thank you for listening. Remember to follow SAICA on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on X, and all other major platforms. And also subscribe to the podcast to never miss an episode. Please like, please share with everyone, and send us all the questions that you might have. From our side, and Thabelo, thank you so much.
The SAICA Biz Impact Podcast is proudly brought to you by SAICA, committed to growing impactful businesses in collaboration with our SAICA accredited practitioners. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and visit our website for more valuable resources.